Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. There is a rivalry brewing on the server at the moment in the shopping area. Another shop has popped up to rival Red Zone. And Red Zone is of course not only a gorgeous build, but one that we help run this fine establishment by supplying it with the redstone. We have a witch farm, a deal with XP Crafted. We supply him with the dust and he gives us a beacon every month. And this is his gorgeous shop, and I think I've only shown it from the outside. The inside is amazing as well. And as you can see over here, all the different things for sale are laid out in this lovely table arrangement. And now a gargantuan shop has appeared in the shopping area with a giant ball of redstone blocks to signify what's for sale here. It would appear that Iskall is going to be rivaling XP with a very similar business model. I mean, I think all of the redstone components here are literally the same price. However, it's not open just yet. And as you can see from here, it actually attaches to Iskall's slime shop. So not only is Iskall now selling redstone components, he's also selling slime blocks. And so XP has decided that to rival this competition, he will in turn give Iskall some competition with his slimes. And that's where I come in, my friends, because XP is now going to be rivaling Iskall in the sales of slime blocks. And you know what I have, right? I have a slime farm that pumps out the slime blocks like no one's business. And I'm here to drop off a huge supply of slime blocks for XP. And do you know what this means? It means things are good and healthy here on the Hermitcraft server, because competition is going to drive down the prices and make all of these redstone components and slime blocks cheaper for everyone. It is a fantastic thing. And you know what? I'm not an employee, but I need a place to drop off these supplies. So we'll be a little sneaky, come round to the meeting room and just drop these off here. And I'm also going to leave a book here as well, just saying, hey, the first shipment is free. But if you want some more in the future, let's get together, talk and work out a deal. So to refresh your memory, this is our slime farm. And there's an iron golem missing at this level here. I got no idea how it died, but all the slimes come off the platforms, come down to the bottom here, and this is where they get wrecked. And when I designed this, I knew it was going to be temporary, because I want to upgrade it so that we can use our looting sword and get an additional item from this farm. And that is, of course, the slime head. We've only got one of these, but if we can make it a player kill farm, then we can get our hands on more of them. And that is something we shall be doing later on in the episode. I've got an amazing new slime farm design to show you. But first of all, let's actually talk about our storage. And not for too long, because we did talk about this a lot in the last episode. So I've developed a new strategy of just trying to stick to having a row of blocks for each segment here, because we kind of got more storage than we really need. And for some items we're going to have to wait until we get the mini blocks to place them on the wall here. But then we look at this vertically. So thinking vertically, you can see where all the different blocks for these type are stored. And so that means I've just done some rearranging and distributing things like this. There is exceptions though, like this wall, and then we've got another one over here for putting all of those random items that tend to clog up your inventory. We're also left with a couple of panels here that are just completely empty and not really worth using at the moment. So the original layout of this room was going to be designed like this, so there would actually be a panel here, and then I could expand it in the future if I wished to do so, but I kind of just ended up building the main thing by default. And also here in the middle there is this space open so that we can have yet another bunch of panels. But now that I put these in, the room feels kind of right that you can actually look across it. And so I don't think these are going to go here. And as I was packing away our storage over here, I realized that I hadn't considered that there are other things that need to go in our storage area as well, like all of these blocks for random different jobs and flowers for making different colors as well. So these things we're going to pick up, and I know exactly where they're going to go for now. I'm going to rip out the barrels here and actually create a little contraption to have our flowers in so that we can grow them with bone meal. And that's obviously going to be automated with redstone. But anyway, if you've got a keen eye, you might have noticed that there's been some building going on around here. And I won't show you much more than that because you haven't seen it from the outside yet. And of course, I've been recording all of my building fun with replay mods. And look at this over here. I actually gathered way too many resources. I don't know how I miscalculated this so much. But yes, it's been constructed. You're probably now hearing the music. And it's time for it, yet another time lapse. Let's go. And so, my friends, this is it right here. What a crazy looking build, right? It took me a long time in my creative world trying out many different designs to finally reach this one here. But it is very peculiar, it's different from all the other ones, and that's what I love about it. There is also mobs spawning on the outside here, which we do not want, of course. And that reminds me, we kind of have this problem on the inside as well, because none of this has been lit up properly. I need to go around and make sure mobs aren't spawning in here, because there are plenty of spaces where they can, as you can see. We don't want no creepers in here. So I have torched up the interiors, but I am yet to put any carpets on the outside. Like this building here, I'm actually going to wait and see where the mobs spawn that become problematic. Like down on the bottom there where we put lots of carpet, it was kind of ugly, and we'll have to just spot the areas on this building in which they spawn and it becomes a problem. Now you may notice that the top here is actually been left open. It is unfinished, that's correct. And that's because I was going to put a crystal like this in the top here, but then I realised it kind of looked the same as this. It was a little bit too close and I couldn't find a way to finish this up. So the top of this building is yet to be decided. But what I have done is tidied up these landing bays right here. As you can see, it's like a miniature one compared to the size of the other ones that we have. But we got the powder, we got the sea lanterns under glass, and it actually fits in pretty snugly, leaving you into this area. And over here is where I've decided to install some flower farms, because these are some of the things we need in our base of operations, if we want to call it that. And this is something you've probably seen done a gazillion times, but I'm going to show you how I built this step by step, since I had to kind of squeeze it into a tiny area. And so we're going to mirror this for the other two flower types on this side over here. So we'll be removing some items and finding them a new home. So the first step is to rip out the barrels and put a couple of hoppers at the back pointing into these ones, and this is where our rails and then minecart hoppers go. Then we want to put some blocks around them to secure them in position, so I break the rails and put these stripped spruce wood out the front. Then we have to push some podzol blocks down into it, and there's no reason why it's podzol, I just thought it'll probably match the texture of the barrels. And now from the back we're going to put a dispenser on either side and an observer facing downwards, like this. Then we actually fill in all of these gaps with furnaces. That's just the texture I decided to make visible. Then to make it nice and luminous, we're going to add glowstone and then put in an observer like this so it creates a clock. But of course we want that to not be on by default, so we add these pistons. Then in these spots, redstone torches and redstone to go and power the pistons so they're not active. Then we want to put in our flowers. We're going to break the hoppers on either side, replace them with hoppers so that the barrels above can funnel in bone meal into the dispensers, and we're going to put glass here. So after adding these item frames and filling up some bone meal, we just need levers at the top and that's it. Then you can see the farm doing its thing on either side. The items pretty much get picked up straight away and then they just feed into these barrels at the bottom. This has now all been fully stocked with bone meal, and I've also moved the flowers over to this side. I think I might move the dyes to the other side. Seems like a reasonable place to put it all. But now I've hit what I call the snag point, okay? Where you've been working on something and looking at it over and over again and you just kind of run out of ideas. And what I'm talking about is the area behind us. You can see that I have extended this downwards into the ground, created a platform to go across. We've got the honey with glowstone again, some lamps for lighting. We've got honey blocks up here, honeycomb blocks, should I say. And now I'm just really not sure where to go from there, because we've got to integrate all of these things right here. These are useful items that you want to use in and around your storage, and I think having them out on the open like this in the middle perhaps is going to look kind of ugly. And where I've gone and put in these ender chests, I just feel like that doesn't work either. I think I want things to be more discreet, as I'm a real big fan of the white glass and the white concrete under. I've even been thinking about maybe just extending it over to the edges like this and seeing how that feels, because falling down into the honey is basically kind of pointless. And I've got to admit it, I feel like that takes something away from the room. When the glass doesn't go all the way to the edge, it gives things just a little bit more shape. So it's like I said, I've kind of hit the snag point now, and I need to come back at this another time and look at it with fresh eyes. But of course, I always appreciate your input, so leave a comment down below and let me know of what you think of where the room and the building as a whole is going, because I've absolutely loved this project so far. Look at that thing, it's just amazing. And I don't know why I'm actually flying. I just decided to fly out of the building, but it's reminding me we've got this to tidy up over here, and yeah, we can finally say goodbye to this old platform that we've been living on for far too long. Now it's completely cleared up, so let's just scoot on over to the castle. And in here you'll see that our wither bee now has 3 heads. Thanks for the feedback. Why did I not give it 3 heads? Makes no sense, but now it's got that. But also, if you look at it from the side, you can kind of see how I've pushed the side here back a little bit, like the chest area. And that's the only drawback there, but overall, that's looking fantastic. And as always, I appreciate it when I ask you questions and you give me answers. Many of you suggested that we make this area over here abandoned and put leaf blocks over everything. Great suggestion, but I'm still umming and ahhing about what to do with this thing overall. And as you can see behind me, I've placed a lot of white concrete in this area, right? And so this led to many requests for me to compare my statistics with another hermit. That hermit is of course Mumbo Jumbo, and many of you were asking how much of the concrete he's put into this, and he shared his statistics with me, so let's jump right into this. So here in my stats you can see 46,000 white concrete blocks. We've obviously been selling some of these in our shopping area as well, and based on these two numbers I think around 11,000. And so for Mumbo's build combined, light grey concrete and white concrete was 25,000 blocks in total. 6,000 iron blocks. But the statistic where Mumbo has more than me, he told me he's placed over 30,000 stone blocks for his build. Although judging by this, he might mean stone blocks. Not entirely sure. So it seems like a lot of you really like this segment, so be sure to comment down below, let me know. Another hermit, another statistic, and of course we'll do a comparison. So heading back over to this project we were at a moment ago, you can kind of see the storage area over there in the distance looking cool, and in front of us is actually where the slime farm that we're going to be upgrading is going to go. And so I've just done some preparation, gathered some materials that we are going to need to construct this. And the very first thing we do is grab a big old box of stone, because we kind of need to enclose this. You can probably hear the sound of squidgy slimes, and yes, they're going to be a pain in the bum. But luckily for us, this is plenty of space right here for us to build the new design. And I'm very sorry, my friend, you have served us well, but it's time to get out of here. So this farm was built around 4 slime chunks, that's 32 by 32 blocks, meaning the center of this area was a 2 by 2 space we put the iron golem in. We're now going to pivot to having a single block in the middle because it's actually able to squeeze an iron golem in this space here. Now the need for having this configuration of blocks to keep them in the middle is so that slimes can actually see them through these gaps. And as you might imagine, the soul sand is going to have water in front of it, so that is going to shoot them up an elevator. And the problem is they can kind of fall down in front of where this water is going to go, and that's why we've got the slime blocks here to catch their fall. And before we get to any of that, I need to redo the rail system down here that picks up items that land at the bottom. That's not actually where we want the slimes to go, but there will be some unintentional deaths and some slime balls making their way to this area that of course we want to pick up. So the rail pickup system has been expanded, and above it you can see we have iron golems trapped between the sandstone walls and birch fences so that slimes can see them, and there's actually 8 of these in total. And the next step is now to surround this big pillar of iron golems and fences and walls with fence gates that are open, because of course then the mobs can go through them. They can also look through the open fence gates, and in the middle we're going to be putting water, of course. I also just want to touch on how annoying it is to use scaffolding in this example. I was going to use scaffolding on all sides, and I decided to pillar up with stone because when you hold shift on scaffolding you fall downwards, and it's a pain to place all the blocks like that. And now with all of these in place, we need to put water up the top here, and I can't really right click on anything in this area because it will waterlog the block. So we're going to put some water there and some water over here. That's going to create source blocks. That's going to flow down to the bottom. I'm going to replace it all with kelp so it all becomes source blocks, and then we put soul sand at the very bottom. I didn't see that one coming. I got to admit it. I didn't see that at all. How am I going to deal with this? Uh-oh. I've got a horrible feeling that I overlooked this in a big way in my test world. Let's send an update to that block there. It waterlogs the entire thing, which is what we can expect to see. Oh. It's completely waterlogged inside and out. Oh, why? Why does this always happen to me? Iron golems don't drown, so we can actually keep the design as is, and the slimes still get attracted to them. I've tested that. So from any floor here, they're going to move to the center, end up in the water stream, and we can take them to a single point. And that single point is, of course, at the top of the farm, and that slime is demonstrating how we can get them to one spot. You see, we've just laid down some water blocks that flow over more of these trapdoors. So wherever the slime comes up here, it's going to reach this top area and just get pushed across by the water. But at this point, I want the slimes to then see the player. So I will be standing around here, and they will actually start to come to me as these are going to demonstrate. And what I've got to try and do is set this up so I can sort of stand here whacking them with my sword. And while doing that, still be safe. That's the real point. So this is one of those moments where we use its own AI against it. We're literally going to have the slimes drop down in this area, and they'll be able to see me over here through this wall. But not even the smallest size slime can actually get through this gap. And the hoppers here are supposed to collect those items, but for some reason they're not getting pushed across in the water. And I've got some ideas to renovate this here for other reasons as well. We're not going to have time for that today, but hopefully we can get it so they actually all come across and drop into there, because some slimes do die in the process of coming up here. Anyway, I will then be standing like at a distance where the biggest one can't come over here and hit me, but they should all be able to see me if I get it just right. Somewhere around here. Yeah, they'll all see me come over here, and I'll just be swinging my sword. And by the way, I already got a slime head, and look at this, it almost looks like it's transparent in the inventory, right? But if you put it over the top of something else, it's not. That is seriously cool. And then when you put it on your head, it doesn't look like the other one. It actually looks like a proper slime. I don't know why the other texture was so janky, but this new one is just amazing. So this whole setup is temporary, by the way, and it's definitely on the quirky side. There's stuff to be figured out here that could make it better, but it's definitely working. The slimes are getting eventually funneled down into the corner here, but there were a few issues, And so I decided to make a modification to take care of that by adding in a water stream and adjusting the position of a couple of other things. But unfortunately at this point, a few more hermits logged on. It meant that we had less slime spawning inside of the farm, and so the rates weren't so good. Now we have a different group of hermits online, and this thing is just pumping out too many slimes for me to deal with. So this project has the potential to be absolutely epic. Let's look inside of the chest though. Look at that! We got 10 slime heads! That is just superb! And ideas are ticking over in my mind as to how we can kill the slimes here quicker. We might use a slime reducer, or maybe use some honey blocks so we stop the slimes from jumping up and down. That makes them easier to hit quicker. But yeah, a lot of thought needs to go into this next stage basically. I'm also getting a little bit of XP from this farm. Thing is, slimes don't really drop a lot of XP, do they? But I guess every little counts. So obviously we're going to have no trouble getting slime for XP, but we're also going to be getting these slime heads, and I believe we can get them in large quantities because I've got quite a few tricks up my sleeve as to how to make everything we've built so far even better and more efficient. And I've also got ideas on how we're going to integrate it with this project here. So plans are coming together again, and that's what I just love. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hermitcraft. It's been absolutely fantastic. And that's it. Yeah, so leave a like on the video, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye-bye.